Greetings, Hancock Health Studio Group Rounding users. Derek Mounsey here, and I'm going to be spending the next 3 to 5 minutes talking about a new feature in Studio Group Rounding that can help you become more efficient and more effective with your time. The new feature is called Goal Reports, and I'm going to kind of talk through the value proposition behind those and then how you would go about creating one if you so choose to. So the agenda for today, first talk about what is a goal report. Second, why might I, as in you, the user, want to create a goal report? How do you create a goal report? And then finally, to kind of cap off our day, linking the goal report to your validation matrix and monthly meeting model. So what is a goal report? A goal report is really just the goal that you set for yourself in terms of the number of rounds that you do per month in order to round on all of your reports. So as you may know, we've set some standards for our organization and said if you have less than or equal to 30 reports, you're to round on each one of them monthly. So if you had 30, for example, you would do 30 rounds in 1 month. For 31 to 60 reports, round on them every 2 months. Same way, if you have 60 reports, you would do 60 rounds in those 2 months, and then greater than 60 reports, you round on those individuals quarterly. So you have these goals, and a new piece of the accountability framework that we're working on is integrating these goals into the validation matrix, which we'll get to here in a minute. And that kind of is getting at the why. But the goal report, as to the what, the goal report is really just a number of rounds that you set for yourself based on the number of reports that you have to do each month or the frequency at which you do them. Now, to really get at the why and the how to do goal reports, I'm kind of going to walk through the process, the same process that you would do when both tracking this and creating a goal report. So to once again highlight the why, in the LEM here, you can see I'm on the main page of the LEM. I'll start just from the beginning so you can get your bearings. On the main page of the LEM, and I move to the validation matrix. So this is where you enter your status on each of these various topics before each monthly meeting. You can see that there's a rounding topic, but it hasn't been built out yet. So we're kind of going to use 8 at 1 as a filler in the meantime to kind of discuss this, but using it with regard to the rounding. So each month before your monthly meeting, what you'll have to do is come into the validation matrix. Based on the number of reports that you have, that would be your goal, depending on those same standards and guidelines that we talked about before. And then you'd have to enter your actual amount of reports that you've rounded on for that month, and then you would be done. You save it and you'd be done, and that is how the rounding one would go, so that then when you sit down and talk with your supervisor about your progress on rounding, you can kind of have a discussion on where you're at and your plan to reach your goal by month's end. So why this tool and the Studio Group rounding software makes that easier? That's what I'm going to walk through now. If I can get to the right screen here. I think I just minimized it. So now I pull up Studio Group rounding, and I'll go back to the dashboard once again to kind of get your bearings. So I'm logged in as Dan Demo, and Dan Demo is the individual. He is the director of his department, and he is the only one that does rounds in this software. And for the sake of this example, we'll say that he has 7 people reporting to him. The 7 reports, he fits in that first tier, and we need to round on each of those individuals monthly. So we're in the dashboard here, and we go to rounds. And so how we build this goal report, and you can do it, I just want to note that you can do it for 2 sections. You can build goal reports by user, so that might be helpful for those of you that have other individuals in your department rounding. So then you can just build it by user and look at it by user. For this example, we're just going to build it by department, since Dan Demo is the only person rounding his department. So to create a goal report, you click on rounds and then by department, and you scroll down to create a goal report. And for the sake of this example, I'm just going to do Dan Demo rounding on reports goal. Something easy that I'll remember and we'll be able to refer back to in the future. And then, as I said, he has 7 people in his department that he has to round on, so we'll put the goal there. And then, because of the tier that he fits in, he'll pick 30 days. For example, if I had, I won't okay this, but if I had 61 individuals, I would put my goal as 61, and I put it every 60 days. So just an example of how you can build that. And it works out for you. So seven people every 30 days. So I'll put save goal. So then that goal report is saved. And I'll walk back out to here just for example. So now if I want to look at that goal report, once again go back to round, and instead of clicking on all these, scroll all the way over to the right here and click goal reports. And you'll notice that I built a couple of these, but the one I just made is on the very top here. So Dan Demo Rounding on Reports Goal. And you can see that right on the title here, it's got goal of 7 every 30 days, just to kind of recap what that goal is. And then you scroll down here and you look at the timeline. Depending on the timeline, it will adjust that goal to fit the timeline. So this is year to date, and it's roughly been 2 months. So it's going to be about 15. But if you want to look at the last 30 days, you can see that the goal is 7, just as we said, and I've rounded on 2 people in the last 7 days. So I sit down with my supervisor and now have an easy report that I can show I've done 2 goals and 2 rounds, and my goal is 7 rounds in the next 30 days, so I'm well on my way to making my goal. So how this works out with the validation matrix is building this report kind of gets rid of the need to remember, how many people you're rounding on. Not that it would be hard, but to kind of think back who you've rounded on, how many people you're rounding on. It's just a quick report that shows those numbers very clearly. So what you would do, you pull up that rounding goal report, go back to your validation matrix, and then you can just see that you would enter, hypothetically, you would enter a 2 here on the actual and a 7 here on the goal. So it's as easy as that, and then you're done with that piece on the validation matrix. So it's just an easy way to track your goals and to keep keep you up to date on the progress that you're making for the month or for the year, depending on what your goal is. So let me know if you have any questions, and I hope this helps. Thanks.